welcome back to my channel. So today's video is going to be a third video of how I contour my fat face. Now I did the first one years ago, so I had made a second one for better quality purposes. I apologize in advance. I have my fan going, which is why I'm trying to talk louder than the fan. But it is extremely hot. I don't have air conditioning in my house, so in order for me to even keep my makeup on my face, I need that fan going, so I do apologize for the background noise. This video is strictly just to explain the difference between bronzer and contour, because I feel like a lot of people do get confused on it, especially when they're new to makeup. So all this video is just to explain the differences between the two of them and what tools to use for each one, and then placement on where to place it on your face. That's all this video is for. I do hope that it's helpful for some of you. Now if you watched my how I contour my fat face, the second one, which I will link down below if you would like to watch it, I did it a long time ago with a different setup, and I did it really extreme for the video, not typically how I would do it on a daily basis, and that's only because I needed to make sure that you could see it on camera. And I do prefer my contour to be a little bit more extreme, so I do use darker colors than most people would, and that's just my preference. You can use whatever level of darkness that you would like for your contour, but I did it a little dark in the last one, and it's mainly just so people know I did it on purpose. It's what I wanted. And I did it just to explain. It made it much easier, I think, for people to see it. I do only powders in this video, but at the beginning of it, you'll watch me put my foundation on and my cream contour and concealer. And I'm just gonna speed it up so you can just watch it in fast motion. And the only reason I'm doing that is just to kind of give you a refresher of how I apply my creams before I do my powders. But if you want a more in-depth version of how I do my creams and why I do what I do, then go ahead and watch the How I Contour My Fat Face, the second one. And this is going to be how I contour my fat face, the third one, using powders and the difference between bronzer and contour. I really hope this is helpful for some of you. Please don't forget to subscribe to my channel and give this video a thumbs up if it's something you like. If there's any suggestions, any other things that you would like to learn from me, go ahead and leave those down in the comments so that way I can see them, so I can make future videos based off of them. Also, before I leave, if you end up liking this eyeshadow look through the video and you're looking at it, I'll link this tutorial for this eye look down below as well, because it will be up before this video, so it will be linked down below. Other than that, I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye. So thankfully the difference between contour and bronzer isn't complicated at all. Bronzers are meant to warm the face up. So where we're going to place bronzer can kind of be all over the face. You really want to put it where the sun is going to hit you. So if your face were to catch a tan, it's typically going to be tan across the nose and the cheeks and around on the side. Now contouring is to carve and add structure to the face. Bronzer is not. Bronzing your face primarily just warms up the face. So it's just to add a healthy glow to the face. That's why a lot of the time you'll find bronzers, some of them are like baked bronzers that have a little bit of shimmer to it. It's to add life back. So contour is to add structure to the face. So that's where we're going to kind of deepen things, and you want to deepen your cheekbones and hollow them out a little bit, or carve out your jawline. It's more for like, think of it as our face is a big clump of clay, which is awful because I freaking hate touching clay and I hate clay. But just pretend we're a piece of clay and we need to carve out the clay in the places that we want to start to build the face. That's where we're going to do contour. I just brought one of my old palettes out that I used to use a long time ago, which is my BH Cosmetics contour and blush palette. Now I just wanted to bring this up just because a contour shade is always going to be cool shade. It's always going to be a shade that is going to make us look dead. It's not supposed to be warm. It is supposed to be cool, because a shadow, when we look at a shadow is not warm. A shadow is not orange, it's not brown. It's usually like a cool shade of whatever gray or black that we're looking at. And that's where we're going to put the contour. I'm just gonna take a fluffy angled brush and I'm going to dip into the contour, and I'm gonna show you where we're going to place it. Now, so if you watched my first video, then you already know how I like to contour with creams, which you saw at the beginning of this, which I sped forward, which is why I didn't.
If I got hair on me.
Which is why I didn't talk through that portion. It was just to kind of let you guys refresh how I do it. And now we're gonna go in with contour. So I'm dipping in. I'm gonna dip into it, I'm just tapping it. I'm going to smack the excess off because it's going to be dark when I put this over, because I already contoured with cream. Now you can skip cream. If you have oily skin, you can totally skip the cream part. If your foundation does not dry matte and it's still dewy, just use powders. But because I am using a satin finish foundation, I like to do cream and powder, and it just kind of acts as a glue to hold everything. But oops, I gotta get my mirror ready so I can see what I'm doing. I already have my contour, which is just a nice light base for me to see where to put it. And here I'm just slowly putting the brush down and picking up, putting it down, picking up, and I'm doing kind of like circular motions, but I'm not dragging it back down. And I'm watching the monitor just because I don't have a mirror like directly in front of me. When I put the powder on, I want to swipe it lightly up, kind of into my hairline, and then I pick the brush up and go back. So I'm gonna do it, so hopefully it doesn't mess my makeup up, but you don't want to drag it back and forth, because basically you're just resisting the makeup. You're basically putting it on, wiping it off, putting it on, wiping it off. We don't want to do that. We want to place it on, so you're just gonna lightly, kind of like you're tickling your face. You don't want to push really hard, you just want to lightly touch it, and you just kind of go up, lift, up, lift. I'm just doing it in faster motions. Once you get used to it, it's easy. But that clearly just gave me a really defined area in my face. I go ahead and do the other side, and again. That is just to add the depth here. Now I have a double chin and we need to get rid of it, so, well, I mean, I wish we could get rid of it, but. Now there were a few of you that said that if you do this, you're gonna get a dirty neck. That is not the case if it's done correctly. But when you powder here, all you need to do is drag it and buff it down, and what that does is it blends it down onto your neck, which then will give a nice gradient. Basically, it's like an ombre, so that casted shadow is just, it's really product, but to other people, it's just a cast of color. It's nothing more than just a shadow we've created if you're using the right products. Now, if you're using a super dark bronzer, then obviously it's gonna look like an orange shadow. Shadows aren't orange, so that's why we really need to use something that's cool toned. Granted, it is your preference. There's really no rules to makeup, so if you choose to use a bronzer to carve out your entire face, by all means do it. That's what you like. But I'm just trying to do the basics, and basics for beginners. Definitely use a cool toned. I do highly recommend starting with this if you are a beginner. It's the BH Cosmetics Contour Blush, Contour and Blush 2. And the reason why I recommend using this is because they're big pans, so you can practice a lot. And you have your blushes, And then you have your contour, and then this is like a highlight setting powder. I don't use that one, but it works for a good eye, like a good eye. It works for a nice white for an eyeshadow if you do choose to use it, or to dilute any, like kind of just dilute any colors that you want to use, maybe for a blush in another palette. It works great for that. For contour, you really want a really precise brush so that way you can place the product and it's not going to diffuse it all over your face. Whereas bronzer, we want it to be diffused, so we want to use a big fluffy brush. So this is going to give us a really diffused wash of color over our face. I'm going to use the Makeup Revolution. This one is the Mega Bronzer number 2 Warm. And it's just a nice big pan, which is why I like it, but I like the shade. It's not like an orangey color on me anyway. It's not orange. So for bronzer, I want my forehead to be bronzed. And I'm just gonna kind of tap it in downward strokes because I want it to slowly kind of work its way around my face. I want my face to look a little rounder and less wide. I want my cheeks to be nice and bronzed. This, I'm placing it right over the top, so here's my contour, and I'm kind of just layering it right at the tip of the contour, not all the way down to the contour, but just at the tip. And that's just so the two colors blend together. And this gives me a raised cheek, so now my cheeks are going to look a little higher. I'm going to put a tiny bit across my nose because if the sun were to burn me, it would burn me right across my nose. And I'm just gonna pat this on because this part can get kind of crazy. So that's it for bronzer and contour. Now I'm going to go in with a highlight, and because we highlight with creams underneath the eye, you can do a powder, like a brightening powder underneath the eye. I choose not to because it gets a little cakey under my eye. But I did all my highlighting with my cream concealer just to brighten up the areas that I want to brighten. Now highlight in powder form, we want to highlight where the sun is really going to reflect from our faces. So we've bronzed this where the sun hits. If our skin were to give off a gleam of light, it would hit at the highest points of our face. So obviously we highlighted under our eye, but we wouldn't highlight with powder under there. Why? Because this is not gonna shine. It's softer skin. Where we're going to highlight is where the skin would actually be a little more rough, where it would glisten, or where we would get really sweaty basically. And when our faces sweat, they're gonna sweat from here. So we're gonna highlight just under the brow bone, and we're gonna highlight at the tip. You can highlight the tip of your nose. A lot of people like it. Some people hate it. So that's completely up to you. But I'm going to highlight the tip of my nose. I'm gonna highlight the high points of my cheeks, my underbrow. I am gonna highlight up here, which is where I would sweat. And I do put a little bit on my chin sometimes. Today I'm not, because I'm gonna use a colored highlight. And what I mean by colored, it gives off a pink iridescent, so we don't need a pink chin. And to give off the best type of highlight, I just like to use a kind of like a little teardrop brush. And I'm going to use the KVD holographic palette, and I'm just going to dip into the shade Opal, which is a pink iridescent color. Oh my god, you guys, it is so hot in this house. Now when applying the highlight, you don't want to rub it. You just want to kind of tap it, which kind of pushes it into the skin. And then I'm going to go on the bridge of my nose. Right where the sun would hit. Super simple. Once you learn what you like and don't like about your face, which I'm sure if you're watching this you already know what you do and do not like about your face, then it's easy to start practicing and kind of getting rid of and kind of disguising the things we don't like, so that way we're focused more on things we do like. That's the whole point of contouring and highlighting, is to bring out our features that we love and hide the ones that we don't, and kind of camouflage them. So I'm gonna put my lip gloss on, I'm gonna come back, I'm gonna kind of turn the lights down when I come back so that way you can really see my face.